Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christine, and if you've been here before, you know it's been about a month since I posted a video. But don't worry, because we are so back. March was so insane. It's just been a whirlwind of a year so far, and yeah, March was hard. So just it was hard and it was amazing at the same time. Like my sister-in-law and her husband came to visit for a weekend, and that was so much fun. We had a wonderful time, and that took up quite a lot of time. So we also got a new kitten last month. He's been home for almost a month. He'll be home, I believe, a month this Tuesday. His name is Fergus. He's so cute. His full name is Lord Fergus McMittens III. And no, there is not a first and second. We just wanted to make him sound fancy. So we've grown our little fur family from 4 kitties to 5 in this past month. On the not so fun side of things, it's just been very stressful with work and the current state of things. So if I haven't mentioned it here, I work directly with immigrants. So just given the atmosphere and what is happening, things have been a little more stressful than normal. So I unfortunately did not get to read very much in March. I really wanted to make this wrap-up video for March, doing January and February, but here we are. We're gonna just do the whole first quarter of the year, the first 3 months. So I have 15 books to talk about for my wrap-up. Oh my goodness, the baby! Here is our baby. Here's our little Fergie. Bye! He doesn't want to be on camera. He wants to go join the cuddle puddle of cats behind me. Okay, so I want to give a quick update on what I'm currently reading. I'm really trying to get back into it because it's just been a lot. So the first book that I am reading, I have been reading this now for like 2 weeks, maybe 3. It's been a hot minute. And that is Our Infinite Fates by Lara Steven. This was my March Book of the Month pick, and it is a young adult fantasy, kind of like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but not. There are these 2 people who are destined to find each other in every single life, and they fall in love, and by the time or before they turn 18, one of them has to murder the other, and the one character knows why this has to happen, but we're following the character who doesn't remember what happened to cause this curse. And I have just under 100 pages left, so my goal is absolutely to finish this today before the work week picks up and I am just sucked into work mode for the next 5 days. So that is book number 1. The second book I am currently reading is for a book club that I joined. So I joined an in-person book club in my neighborhood, and I'm super excited. The bookstore is like 3 minutes away from my house, and it is a queer book club. I went this past month and it was really fun. I went just a couple days ago to my first meeting. I wanted to go last month, but I got sick, and I didn't want to be that person who showed up just because I was feeling a little bit better, but then get, everyone there sick. So I just attended for the first time. It was super fun, and I'm really looking forward to going again in May. So the May read is Something That May Shock and Discredit You by Daniel M. Lavery, and this is a book of essays. And so far, I've only read the first essay and the first interlude, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's very heartfelt, very funny, very honest so far. So I'm very much looking forward to continuing and seeing if that picks up past the first 10 pages, and I'm sure it will. So yeah, I'm just super excited to read this for the book month pick, and I want to get my annotations going, start tabbing. So with that, I want to go through every book I've read for the first 3 months of the year. We're going to start with January, and in January I read 5 books, for a total of 2,003 pages. So pretty strong start to the year. That morning coffee really hits. All right, so I have loaned out quite a few of these books that are on this list, so I didn't like gather them all up to show you. I'm just gonna do like a little picture over here somewhere. And the first book I read this year was Welcome to the Hyunam-dong Bookshop. I gave this book 5 stars. It was very cozy, very slice of life, about a woman who leaves her job and opens a bookstore, and through her journey of getting this bookstore up and running and curating events and building a community, we learn more about her and why she did this and what this means to her. It was just a really beautiful book. It's written by a Korean author, translated from Korean into English, and I gave this book 5 stars, and I believe I've talked about it in another video that I will link up here in the corner, whichever side it goes. The next book I know I've talked about on this channel like multiple times already, so I'm not going to say too much about it, and that is Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. This is still definitely one of my favorite books so far this year. Of the 15 I've read, I think like this is a 5-star plus, you know, where there are other 5 stars on this list, but this one just like really takes the cake. It's like at the very top. It was just such a beautiful story of like home and connection and relationships and love. So I've gushed about this book before, and I still could do it now, but it is absolutely just so worth it. It's so good. After that, I listened to the audiobook of Doll Bones. I just wanted something like quick while I was waiting between audiobooks. And this is a young adult middle grade. It's more middle grade, it's not young adult. This is a middle grade coming of age story, and I think I can like appreciate it for what it was as a coming of age story. I think it was a really nice story of like friendship and growing up, and how we change when we hit that age of like, you know, 11, 12, and our interests start to change, but also the expectations our parents have for us start to change, where, you know, maybe we aren't expected to play with toys anymore and make up stories, and, you know, that's a really hard time to go through. And then to be honest about, you know, those things that happen with our friends and our peers. So I did give this a 3-star, mostly because like I'm not the target audience for this book. It's not a book that I'd be like, yes, you should read this. You know, like my niece, when my niece is a couple years older, I probably will like buy her a copy of this book. It's really good. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to someone who is 30 like me. I also read The Foxwife by Yangzi Chu. This is a Chinese mythology, and it was really good. The pacing on this was, I think the pacing overall was very good. Like, it was a great story to follow. It's told from 2 perspectives. So we have the woman and who is trying to hunt down the person who killed her child, and then we have the detective who is trying to find her. And trying to find someone who is possibly related to these other deaths in a village. Now, overall, this book was a great exploration of Chinese mythology. It was very well done. It was like the perfect book to read in that cold January month. And the last book I listened to in January was an audiobook. It was The Lost Apothecary. I gave this book a 4.25 stars. And oh, I forgot to mention, I gave The Foxwife 4.5 stars. Lost Apothecary, 4.25. I really enjoyed this story. The ending wasn't quite what I expected. I was hoping for a different ending, but I still did like it overall. I thought it was a really great exploration of women and community, and just those relationships, both in present day and in the past. Moving right along to February. February was a big month for me. In February, I read 7 books. Somehow the shortest month of the year with the biggest reading impact. And I was able to read 2,048 pages. To be fair, I did take like an entire week off of work We had a break between our class sessions, and rather than work that week, I decided I wanted to stay home and relax because I still have quite a bit of PTO left to use before the end of June, and I just needed a break because things have been absolutely chaos. So in February, I finished The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, and this book I started reading like back in June, and I just put it down, and I think it wasn't what I wanted at that time. I went right from the Poppy War right into The Dragon Republic, and even though I used to be able to just like house a whole series in a week when I was younger, now I find I need time between the books. I can't really go right from like one to the next in that same way that I used to. It's like I want some variety. I want something a little different, especially those books are a little heavy. There's a lot of violence. So I set her down for a while, and then I picked it back up right where I left off, and the story is so well written that even taking that break, I was able to remember like, oh yes, this is what happened, this is where we are, and like this is where we're going. And in the end, I did give The Dragon Republic 4 stars. I did give The Poppy War 5, and I am looking forward to reading The Burning God maybe next month. Next up is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I think I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people not happy. I didn't get the hype. I listened to this on audiobook, and I don't know if that was the problem, but I just felt it was like too meandering. I don't necessarily think I'm going to listen to the next one. I only gave this 3.5 stars. Which really is on like the lower end of how I tend to rate books. I mean, I will give a 1 or a 2 if it's awful, but if a book is that bad, it's most likely going into the DNF pile, because I have no shame about DNFing books. If it's awful, I'm not finishing it. But yeah, I know people really love this book, but I didn't get it. I guess it's not for me. And I can't necessarily say what I didn't like about it. I just was like kind of bored. So I know people love that book. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. It just wasn't for me. A book I did really enjoy though is Shark Heart, which I ended up getting from Book of the Month after seeing Lexi Newly Nova's review of Shark Heart. And I devoured this book in like a day or two. So I gave it 4.25 stars. I would love to go back and read this again, maybe in like a year or so. But I did really, really enjoy Shark Heart, and like just all the love and the grief that was just woven into the pages. Even though most of these sections were quite short, there was a lot of emotion that was captured in each of the sections. I've also started keeping like an ebook on my phone from the library for when I can't sleep at night, because I am terrible at falling asleep. So sometimes it'll just take me hours, and rather than just lay there and toss and turn and throw my thoughts into the abyss, I have been trying to read at night when I can't sleep, although I have not done that recently. But I've also been sleeping a lot recently. So the next book I read was Death at Morning House. This is by Maureen Johnson, and this is, I think, like one of her newer books since the Truly Devious trilogy. And like, if there is one thing about this woman, is that she can write a young adult murder mystery like no one else. I love her books, her murder mysteries. They are so much fun. They always take place somewhere cool, like boarding school, or this one was like a summer house that was like, they were giving tours of this old house, and there were like all these tragic deaths at this house. You know, now someone else died again, and it's honestly like it was so good. I did not see the twist coming. I never do, but I highly recommend it. If you like murder mystery or like young adult murder mysteries, Death at Morning House was a lot of fun, and I was able to just like turn off my brain, immerse myself in this story, and be like, who is doing this? Who is killing people at this house? And you also uncover the mystery of like what happened in the past, because the deaths were like very mysterious. So that was also like super cool that there were like these parallel storylines of like murder mystery and finding out what happened in the original Deaths at Mourning House and like who is killing people now today. Following that up, I read Night by Elie Wiesel. I never read this in school, and I just felt that now was probably the best time to read this book if you've never read it before. I gave it a 5-star, absolutely gut-wrenching. I've read other books by Holocaust survivors and about their experiences in the concentration camps and the death camps, and like it's just one of those things that no matter how many times you read it, you're just like, it's like a punch in the gut. And I think it's really important to consume these books and really reflect on them and reflect on where we are now. So Night by Elie Wiesel, 5 stars. And again, like if you haven't read it before, what are you waiting for? There is no time like today to pick this book up and read it, because I think it's so important. Next, I'm gonna go talk about the book that I think also contributed to my March reading slump, and that is How High We Go in the Dark. This book got a 3.25. On the surface, there is nothing about this book that should have put me into a reading slump. It is well written. It is an interesting thought experiment. It is a wonderful take on like the resiliency of like mankind and humankind. I don't know why I said mankind. Like, who does that anymore? Humankind. It's all the chapters are their own like standalone piece, but they're all connected. Like all the characters are somehow related to other people in this story. And at the end, I think it wrapped up really nicely. I think the pacing of this book, the heaviness of it was just like, it was a lot. So I ended up listening to the rest of this on audiobook. And the last book I read in March is Notes on an Execution, which I gave 4 stars. How High We Go in the Dark, I gave 3.25. And then Notes on an Execution was just beautifully written. Sometimes with audiobooks, I do feel like I miss some things. So this is a book that I would like to pick up and like reread again, because I do think I missed a lot, but I know it was really, really good and really beautiful. So I would like to give that one another go at some point. And finally, we are in March. March, I read 3 books. I read 3 books in March, for a total of 1,119 pages. And the first book I read in March has been a long time coming, and that is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I have been wanting to read this book forever, and I finally did, because I was planning to go to the book club, like I mentioned, and this was the book for March. This was the book for the beginning of March. And I did finish it by the day of the book club, but I was sick, so I didn't go. But I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was like very sweet and very tender, and like a great exploration of, you know, who we are, what we do, and just like the need for connection and like helping others and allowing ourselves to be helped. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was comfy, it was cozy, it was optimistic and hopeful in a way that I think we really need right now. And I gave it 5 stars. After that, I did what I love to do after reading something comfy cozy. I read a book about murder. So I read Where Sleeping Girls Lie. This book was also so good. I gave it 4.75 stars because I do think it was a little long. I think there are some parts that could have been just trimmed down a little bit, but overall, a really great book. A lot of twists and turns that I didn't see coming, but overall, like, just so good. And what was really nice, no, I'm not gonna say that it's a spoiler. You'll have to read it for yourself. But this, I think, is also young adult. It's by the author who wrote Ace of Spades, which I have not read yet, but I heard it is like chef's kiss amazing. So I will be doing that at some point. And the last book I read in the month of March is a collection of poems called Love Poems by Nikki Giovanni. This was the book club pick for April, and I gave this 3.5 stars. There are some poems in this collection that I thought were like very good and very strong. There were poems that explored like different types of love. So there was like friendship, there was romantic love, there were love for each other through political action. And I do think that some of those more politically based poems were much stronger, and some of the love poems were just like very cheesy. And I did use the word cliche to describe it as at the book club, and that is partially because there is an entire poem that's like written in cliches. It's like a stitch in time saves 9, blah 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 blah, cliche cliche cliche, which, like, I don't know. I just like I studied literature for like 6 years in school, so, and I got my master's and everything, so like just like my favorite poem is The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So like they just didn't do it for me. Like there were some really beautiful love poems in there. Like I really enjoyed the one about New York City. I really enjoyed like the telephone poem, which like reminded me of like young love and young friendship when you're a child. And then the political poems, the poem dedicated to Tupac, really, really good. But then some of the poems just like, I didn't get it, but that's okay. Poetry it's open for interpretation, and at the end of the day, it's meant to make you feel something, and what it made me feel was, huh? So that is it. That is my wrap up for the first 3 months. Overall, I think I had a really, really solid start to the year. A lot of 5-star, a lot of like 4.5 and above. So I'm very happy with the books that I read so far this year. I am so looking forward to getting back into a place where I'm like reading consistently. My goal for the year is 52 books, a book a week, and I am still like slightly ahead of that goal. So I'm glad I gave myself like a really good cushion in the beginning of the year with reading so many books. And that should help me kind of stay on pace with my goal, ideally exceed my goal. I love exceeding goals. Who doesn't? So yeah, I'm going to get into Our Infinite Fates and finish that today before doing some meal prepping, and I am so looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. If you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were. Did you like them? Did you dislike them? You know, tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comments. I would love to hear them. And please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and like I said, we are so back, and there will be a new video next week. Bye!